Hello everyone, my name is Karuna, you are back on my Armenian Duduk channel and I'm very happy to see you. In this video I want to talk about one question which I'm asked quite often by beginners, of course. How long does one reed last? Especially in the beginning, if you want to buy a new duduk, new instrument, and you need some reeds along with it, so you would probably ask how many do you need, and I always answer as many as possible, but at least 2 for the beginning. So this question normally is asked by beginners. Everybody who is a little bit into duduk topic for some time, for a while, who's a bit advanced in it, already never asks such question, because for them it's already obvious that you need as many reeds as you can afford, and also that there are so many factors which are involved into this. Probably I would start with the sorts of this reed plant, because Armenia knows at least 2 sorts of this reed plant. The one which comes from the central part of Armenia, from Ararat Valley, and this is the one which was known also in the past. And the second one, which came later, people discovered it later, comes from Nagorny Karabakh. This is the part from the country which is on the border to Azerbaijan. And in the last war, which happened like 2 years ago or something, Armenia lost that part. And now almost all reeds plantations belong to Azerbaijan and not to Armenia any longer. That is why now Armenian makers start to investigate and look for other reeds plantations in other countries. Some of them already started bringing reed plant from Iran. Some of makers order it from France, even from Spain, from Italy. They try everything. There are some suppliers from Turkey, I guess, at this moment, because there is a lot of reeds plant in Turkey. From Russia as well, from the south part of Russia, at the Black Sea. So they are trying to do something about it. They even started to grow this reeds plant somewhere in their own garden where they live. They cannot produce a lot of the material, of course, but they already started to do so. And the reeds plant, which was harvested in the central part of Armenia, in Ararat Valley, had a different quality than the one from Nagorny Karabakh. So first people knew only the one from Ararat Valley. It had a higher density of material. So that one was very dense, and it took normally a lot of time to play it and to develop the sound of it, to make it blossom, let's say. So you have to play a new reed before it becomes like the sound gets better and better. It develops, the reed develops. So and after some months or even years, it is already good, and you can take it for a concert or for a recording or whatever. I really mean it. So this reed plant, which came from Ararat Valley, had this density, so it needed a lot of time to develop its qualities, to start sounding good. And later the material from Nagorny Karabakh was discovered, and people realized, okay, it has less density. There is some disadvantage in it, because they absorb more water. From soft they become quite hard when you start playing it after a couple of minutes. But on the other side, you can start playing them like from the very first minute. You don't need like all those months and months to develop the sound. The sound is quite good already from the very beginning. Still you need to develop it, of course, to play it for weeks or maybe 1-2 months, and then the sound becomes better and better. But I mean, this time is much shorter compared to the material from Ararat Valley. That is why first characteristics of the lifetime of a reed is where the reed comes from. You know, the geographic location of the plant itself, original density of the material. and this is connected to geographic location. The second point is how many reeds do you have in your collection. This is very important because it's about the rotation of reeds. It's about how often you switch from one reed to another. It is about how much you are killing one single reed that you have, if you have only one single reed. Maybe you already feel while playing the reed is already tired, kind of absorbed a lot of water, does not obey, like the tuning is off, stuff like that, but still you keep playing it because you don't have many more reeds. Not only playing one of them, which is softer and more comfortable right now, but also grabbing this and that reed from your collection. Next point is how soft are your reeds, because the softer is this particular reed, the shorter is its lifetime. It's very, very simple. That's why if somebody asks me what softness of a reed I am playing or I would recommend, I always say don't take always soft ones, because the lifetime of a soft one is quite short. Soon it will become buzzy, it will become not interesting. Medium reeds and harder reeds live longer. My next point is how much do you practice? This is a very essential point. For some people it's quite normal to practice a couple of hours a day even. So I myself almost never practice so much. I mean, in my like high season of my Duduk study, when I used to come to Armenia and I would take classes, of course I would practice a couple of hours a day. But then in my normal usual life, I never practiced that much. But there are very disciplined people. They're motivated, as far as I know from you, who play really a lot, like much more than I would play. But for some people, for some householders, I mean family members, fathers, mothers, even to play a couple of hours a week is already a lot. So they cannot find 1-2 hours for having a lesson, 1-2 hours to practice by themselves without kids interrupting. And this thing is very hard to calculate. That's why it's also hard to say how much a reed will last in your particular case. My next point is about, of course, the correct setting of the mouth, correct lips position. This is in Duduk practice a number one component. If you are missing it, if your position is wrong, if you are doing it wrong, blowing the air into the reed in the wrong way, kind of not in Duduk style, but in some clarinet or saxophone style, without making cheeks, without like lips being in the proper position, then the reed would not last long. In case of beginners, it is always, the lifetime of the reed is always shorter than in case of some advanced player, because the advanced player already knows what to do and the beginner doesn't. Very often the beginners would try to learn by themselves, only with my YouTubes or with other people's YouTubes, but they don't take classes. And for a long time, as it was in my own case, like for 1 or 2 years, even probably, when I just started, I did not take classes. My lips position was completely wrong. In some other people's cases, it's already better from the very beginning, but in my case, it was never good from the very beginning, so the lifetime of reed was less. Important point, which is also hard to evaluate. My next point is about how correctly you prepare the reed before playing. It is again about your experience, how much you feel the reed, what the reed needs, how much water it needs in this particular season or climate or geographical place, when it is ready to play. And from reed to reed, this time of preparing the reed is different. So you have to really understand, to feel when the reed is ready to take the air pressure. And do not give the air pressure before it is really ready. My next point could be sounding funny, but it is about how much, and if at all, you give your instrument, your duduk with reeds, to play to other people who cannot play properly, like to your wife or girlfriend or boyfriend or to your friends on the party when like everybody's drunk, and then okay, like what do you have here? So let me try, and then you, out of politeness or whatever, you give your instrument to some people to try, and they cannot play it, then they just ruin everything. They ruin your instrument. So remember this. Have this balance between politeness and taking care of your reeds. If you want that your reed lasts longer, don't give it to play to anybody. My next point is about the climate where you live, your geographical location, and also about season. I'm in Thailand right now. It is very humid and warm here, and the reeds like it. So I almost don't need to prepare them to put any water, because anytime, doesn't matter when I played the reed for the last time, anytime I open the reed, I just need this sucking in movement, and then the reed is open. Although I haven't played it for I don't know how many months. I just arrived in Thailand 2 weeks ago, and this reed is ready to be played, because the climate is such, it's just supporting the reed. It's humid and it's warm, the reed likes it. But in case you are in some winter season somewhere in a cold place or in a dry place with central heating in your apartment, every time you need to prepare reed with water, it's like the battery in your phone or laptop. The more often you charge it, the less is the capacity of the battery. What do I mean by the lifetime of the reed actually? For me, it is when the sound of the reed becomes buzzy. It doesn't sound soft anymore, it doesn't sound interesting or full of overtones, but it more goes to this quality of buzziness, when it's just bzz, bzz, makes this bzz, bzz, and basically it's not interesting anymore, it's a little bit irritating even. I like that. That means the reed is already done. So you could still use it for playing the drone, for example, or learning circular breathing, because for this you don't need a quality reed, you just need some very soft reed which is worn out already, and you can use it for practicing this circular breathing, for example. But for playing in front of people or for recording, it is not useful anymore. Now you see how many factors are involved and how difficult it is to answer. I would say, like in the beginning, if you have at least two reeds, because I cannot push onto you knowing the today's prices for a good reed, because today the price is around, like we're in 2022, it's around 40 euro for one piece. I mean, who am I to tell you that you have to buy many reeds? It's expensive, I know. I have a lot of reeds, but I mean, I'm buying them cheaper because I go myself to Armenia, and this happens already for so many years. So I'm like collecting reeds, and you know, I have a different price, a dealer price, let's say. But for you, ordering a reed from abroad, it's expensive, I know it. So if at least in the beginning you have at least two reeds, that would be okay. Just try not to stay with only one reed, so that you have one more to rotate between them. That would be good, and probably they would last for a year or maybe even longer or so. This is my suggestion to you for today. So I hope you are enjoying your Reduct practice as I am. That was Karuna. See you in my next videos. Ciao, ciao, guys.